Welcome to another episode of Moments with Nyengeterai. I'm so excited, and I just want to say thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your positive comments. They really mean a lot to us. And we're really trying to do the best to make sure that we produce and bring you the show that you want and the people that you want to see. So do continue to send those comments. Do continue to send in your suggestions. We're really loving them. So today I have a very exciting guest, Tony. Tony, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for taking time out to come and sit with me and have a drink with me. So who's Tony? Just for viewers' sake, I want them to understand who Tony is.
Oh man, where to begin? A dad, a youth entrepreneur, a voice for mental health, and just a broadcaster too. So yeah, that those are the things that I think would make what I am at this point in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So lots of things. Broadcaster, father, mental health, voice. Let's start with the father part.
The father part.
Talk to me about
Fatherhood.
Fatherhood.
Yeah, I'm a single dad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a father to an 18-year-old and a 6-year-old, but I live with the 18-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
The other 6-year-old lives in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on this single fatherhood journey, single parenthood journey for about 12 years now.
Wow.
12 years. And what I think that's been the most demanding of all of my roles because of, I'm sure you know a thing or two about parenting, and it's not an easy road, and it's something that you are constantly unlearning and relearning new stuff. And yeah, it's been a very interesting journey for me.
Okay, and what really excited me, I just want to unpack something. You said you're a single father. I mean, we normally get single mothers.
Yeah.
Talk to me how you got to be a single father and how you got to raise this young lady all by yourself, and how that journey has been for you as a dad, raising a girl.
It was all circumstantial. I went through a divorce in 2010, and then around 2012. In fact, before, when we were together, we were staying in SA as a family. Me, my ex-wife, and my little baby. She was 5 at the time when we then went our separate ways. And then there was 2010, we went our separate ways, and then I then moved back to Zim. Her granny had taken our baby, not taken, but we had given her our baby when we went our separate ways because we were both very unstable. And so she spent a year in Gweru with the grandmom, and then a year after that, I moved back to Zim from Malawi when we launched ZFM Stereo. I then moved back to Zim, and then I went and I got her. And I started raising her, and that's how the journey began to this day. So, man, I don't think there was any amount of being prepared that anybody could have taken me through. It's been a lot of twists and turns, a lot of new discoveries, a lot of self-discovery for myself, and just learning what it is to be a parent. It sounds so simple, but it's not. It's parenting, I think, is one of the hardest jobs that any other, because, I mean, think about this. You are responsible for another life. You are not entirely responsible for how they turn out, but you kind of lay the foundation of how they view the world. You are preparing them for the real world, and a lot of mistakes are made on the way, because I think the first instinct of the parents is you want to protect, right? You wanna protect them from the world. You want to keep them safe. But as I have learned the hard way, that is not always the goal. Sometimes the goal is actually to make them vulnerable. to the world in a sense, so that they kind of get a feel of what the real world looks like, because then you are really preparing them for the real world. And they can also cope with how cold and cruel and mean the world is. But of course, everything in balance. You protect them, but you also allow them to experience life. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So what I sort to really unpack that, for me, because, we are so used, it's really from Zimbabwe and from an African perspective.
Yeah.
Most fathers, after separation,
Yeah.
they don't take care of their kids. That's what's out there. It doesn't know that we know that it will separate. It's a mother who takes the child, the child stays with the mother, and sometimes the father is non-existent in this child's life. I want to understand. I really, for me, because I think it's really critical, and especially for other young men out there or other men out there who are considering taking their kids but are really worried. Take me through how you got to take care of your child, and what's the highs and lows and being of taking care of being a single dad, actually. Yeah.
Overall, I would say, if you ask me now how the journey has been, because she's at a point now where she's almost about to start varsity, and that's like a full human being now, almost a full human being. But I will say that overall, it's been the biggest blessing for me to have the opportunity to raise your own child.
What made you want to go in later? And how was you get her?
So let me tell you, everything began when she was born. My daughter and I have always had a very, very interesting relationship. We've been very close. We've always been very, we've always like one. Fathers and daughters. It's actually very true. So from the day that she was born, there was an instant bond that was created. Even I can't explain it to this day. I just know that there was something spiritual and magical that happened the day that she was born. I remember the day that she was born. She was born in Bill. We were staying in Bill at the time. I was 25. Her mom was very untrue. And the day that I went to see her mom, because the mom went into labor on a Thursday, and then she didn't give birth until after midnight that night. But the nurses had told me this is going to happen probably the next day. So it happened unexpectedly, according to them. But then I went to the hospital in the early hours of the morning, and I saw her for the first time, and I held her in my arms, and I was like, my gosh, here's a little me, like a little human being who resembles me. She had some of my features, and instantly we bonded. Something spiritual happened when she was born. So the year that we were apart after divorce, it was the most painful year for me, not obviously because of the divorce, but mostly because my family had been torn apart and I wasn't able to be with my daughter in this season. So the wish was always, I want to get back to my child. Even the decision to move back to Zim was mostly influenced by the fact that she had been taken by the clinic who was now back in Zim. So it was always the desire for me to raise my own child, to influence her life in a positive way. So it was a no-brainer for me. It wasn't. I even lied when I went to get her in grade because they were asking me all kinds of questions. The clinic was asking, so hey, what are you going to do at school? She was 6 at this point. Just started grade 1. So what are you going to do at school? I lied. I said I'd got a place for school. I said I'd got a place, like a proper place. And I was staying in a bed sitter somewhere in the Abigails. I liked that I had a mate. So I literally started figuring everything out when I went to get her. But that was the easy part. The hardest part was going to get her and put her under my care. So everything else, we kind of just figured it out on the way. Look, for her, it was one big adventure. For me, it was scary, but I knew that I loved her so much and I wanted to be with her. So whatever it was that was ahead of us, we could, so we went from staying in a bedsitter to staying in a bigger place to getting our first car, to getting our first helper, and so on and so forth. So it brings such peace when you know what your child is eating in the morning, what she had for lunch, what she had for dinner. For me, that equals to peace of mind. I would not be comfortable not knowing all of those details. So that was that huge inspiration for me to just wanting to be a part of this little human being's life and, give her some guidance and protect her and nurture her. And there was obviously a lot of things I couldn't do, but I had to learn, like the feminine stuff and all that. We had to have those conversations at some point, when she had the first period, when we started talking about boys and, relations and things like that. So yeah, it's been a very, very interesting.
And one of the nicenesses from being a single dad and being a dad to a girl child,
I think all of this taught me one thing: empathy, the power of empathy. I saw a little of me in my little girl, and I wanted to give her what I never had, which was empathy and compassion. You and I know that, the caliber of our parents were very different.
Oh, yeah.
From how we are.
Different, yeah.
They were a lot harder, they were more military, and they were more concerned about putting food on the table and putting a roof over your head than they were about having a relationship with you,
Their love language was so
Their love language was completely different, and it's not their fault, because that's all they know. That's what we have a use. I always say they were doing the best that they can under what they use. So, but I also saw how traumatized I had been as a child. Example, my father was an alcoholic. He was extremely abusive, verbally, emotionally, physically, And unfortunately, the African culture, to a degree, almost idolizes violent people with temper, and they are put on a pedestal like, whatever, you understand. But they put us through a lot of trauma that was not necessary. Even some of the beatings that we went through were not okay. They were not necessary, I remember getting beat up by my mom for a straight hour. And she stopped when she was... and the verbal abuse that goes with it. And not only is she beating you up, but she's also beating you up and telling you, severely assaulting you, I don't think that was necessary. So I kind of knew instinctively that there were some things that they could have done better.
So do you think this kind of like... maybe change the way you parent?
Definitely. So now here I was, I've got a blank canvas before me. Here's a little child. So now I have an opportunity to correct some of the things that I felt my parents did wrong. Usually some of the things that were already highlighted. So I started doing things a little bit differently and watching the results. And the one thing that we lack as parents, sometimes, or most of the times, is empathy with our kids. The ability to put yourself, we forget that we were kids at some point, and we needed, there were a lot of times that you needed your mom to just say, you know what, it's okay to fail. It's okay to not get it right. Everything was get it right, get in line. Everything was about straightening you up. And they forgot the humanity element of it. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to teach us life lessons, but it lacked a lot of empathy and compassion, which is something that has become huge with me and my little girl. Just the ability to put yourself in her shoes and watch her struggle, because they have a lot more to do with now than we did before. Back in the day, all we had to worry about was DSTV. Now it's in DSTV.
Mona TV. Haven't you?
It was like now it's social media. It's all kinds of voices that they have to deal with. And a lot of them struggle to find themselves in all that chaos.
Yeah.
You understand? So just empathizing with her and, assuring her that, you know what, it's okay, I'm with you. There's times when I have to be hard and stern about certain things, but the thing that carries us, within our households, is the empathy, just that compassion, the love, the forgiveness, the patience, the endurance, the just the ability to let a person be human.
So that's a lot. And just from that, Tony, I switch you to speaking to Anna May.
Yeah.
Where the room floating, and how would you maybe advise them to parent differently? Besides the empathy, how can they parent differently? Because I think you said some very key points, like from an African perspective, the hardness in there, whenever is what is kind of like pushed as a narrative.
Yeah.
To get the best out of a child, you have to push. From your perspective as a father, having raised a daughter as an African man in this era,
Yeah.
what did you say to the leaders?
That's a bit of a hard one. Because I don't want to come across as though I am. The only thing that I can say is my experience.
Yeah.
What I've seen it do, right? So this might or might not work for other people, but we have to redefine what it means to be a man, especially in Africa, right? Because the picture that we have of what a man looks like, what he does, it can be toxic. It is toxic to a degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we almost have to edit that canvas and paint a different picture. I would add compassion to that canvas. I would add patience. I would add relationship. What I mean by that is my father was very, as much as he was the provider, he was the man of the house, and he was also very disconnected from all of us in an emotional sense. I could never go to my father and have a conversation about struggles I'm having at school, The only time that my father was summoned was if I had done something wrong. That's when you get his attention. And the next thing that it leads to is a beating. I don't ever remember my father, not one day, him saying, I love you and I'm proud of you. And, how can I make your life easier? How can I make your life better? We could add that to the list of things that make up what a man looks like. Add a bit of gentleness, add a bit of compassion, a lot of empathy, a lot of patience, a lot of forgiveness, because the hardness in the military approach, it quite often leads to the opposite of what you're trying to achieve as a parent. I have a lot of friends of mine who grew up in very hard and they still got pregnant before they got married. So does that work? No. And I have some friends who grew up in some very liberal homes where they were pretty much allowed to do whatever. They turned out okay, quite okay. So then there's something to be gained by being human. And this is not just for parenting, like just in life in general. Like the moment you become more human, the moment you come off a pedestal and you just look at people and their struggles and what they're really trying to do, you will notice that we're all the same. We're all facing the same battles, just on different levels. And that is the thing that connects us. When I know that Nyenge also struggles with enough sometimes, doesn't have it together. That brings us together. It doesn't. But the moment you come across as this authority in doing life, you alienate yourself from people, which is what a lot of our parents did. Like, this is hilarious because I always think back to how my father used to smoke and drink and never wanted us, any of us, to do like how I only give down here. So do as I say, do as I do. And that doesn't work. It doesn't. So which also brings me to another point that as a parent, the greatest example you can set for your kids is not anything you said, but it's how you conduct yourself. If your kids watch you work hard and they watch you abide to principle, they are more likely to be inspired by that than you sitting them down and say, you have to do this, you have to, because they can see they're smart individuals. So they can tell and they can say, oh, this actually works. My mom reads books, so maybe there's something to be gained in doing this.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You said so many things, and I just want to I picked a few things from there. You talked about empathy, you talked about what the African Ben looks like. But then you talked about feelings, depression, I know you once said that you went through an episode where you almost killed yourself with depression.
Twice.
Okay, take me through that and how you got out of it. And because I think we can help someone out there who was probably the same situation or...
Definitely. So it was just after the divorce that I spoke about, 2010. At this point, I'll be the first one to admit that I didn't know that there's a term called mental health. I had no idea. It was not even a word in my vocabulary. But then after I went through, and people who had gone through similar experiences will tell you that whether the relationship was good or bad, a divorce will be traumatic, one way or the other. But because we are men, and nobody allows us to deal with these things, you then find yourself in a situation where deep down you're not okay, but what do you do with the pain, right? Which is why people then become alcoholics, people become abusive, people get into all kinds of vices, right? So what happened for me was a few months after we went our separate ways, I was in pain. I was in a lot of pain, emotional pain, mental pain, physical pain. I struggled to wake up. I struggled to sleep. I struggled to eat. I struggled to work. I struggled to hold a normal conversation with a human being. That's how much pain I was in. But I didn't have words or labels for this. I just knew that I wasn't. And the thing about emotional pain is that you can only take so much. You get to a point where you get tired of fighting. Now, I'm going to pause here and zoom in on that for a little bit and say that every single human being is looking for peace. Every single one of us. When you go for a drink, you're looking for a feeling. When you take a hot bath, you're looking for a feeling. When you engage in relations with your person, you're looking for a feeling. When you take drugs or alcohol, all of us are built for peace. Peace is the default for every single human being. And when we lose it, we will lose it. Even if it means taking your own life to get to it. Wow. I got tired. I was in so much pain. I wanted the pain to stop, but I just didn't know how. And then the idea popped into my head. So if I'm not in the physical anymore, am I still going to be emotionally? No. So that's how I started to play around with the idea of dying. Dying was not the goal. Peace was. I wanted peace. I wanted to feel free from this pain. So I attempted twice. I wish we had time to get into the detail, but I attempted twice within 2 weeks in March 2011.
Using what?
Pills. Because I figured pills would be less painful and they would be gradual. Because
you haven't thought about it and knowledged about it.
Yes, I researched about it, and there were all kinds of stuff on the internet. The book wasn't as big as it was now, but it was there. So we looked it up. It's like, yeah, so because I had been on and off sick, mentally and emotionally, I was also physically sick. I had ulcers. My health was, so I had a whole bunch of medication in my room, in my cabinet, my little whatever. So I figured, if I take those pills and those ones, this will make, the concoction that I need to give me peace. Yeah, but it didn't work. It didn't. Thankfully, it did it. But what it taught me, and that's how my passion for mental health was born. Because then from that time, I became obsessed with understanding myself and understanding how humans work. But how did you get out of that state of wanting to kill yourself? It was pain, extreme pain. If you had even if it's a headache, like imagine having a continuous headache day in, day out, nonstop. You would get to a point where you just get tired and you just want the pain to stop. And a lot of people, that becomes that thing that would take of course it's permanent. At this point it doesn't matter because it's been pain all the way up to this point anyway, But I'm also going to pause here and zoom in and say, when a person is in the state of wanting to take their own life, all it's saying about them is this: they are crying out for help. And all it's saying about the people around them is that shame on them, that this person finds dying easier than talking to someone about it. What does it say about us? So every single suicide that gets reported is an indictment on all of us as society, because it says how terrible are we that this person found it easier to die than to talk to someone. Because how do I know, Tony, that this person, what if this person is behaving normally? How do I know they need my help? How do I know? People are always crying out for help, but we don't want to listen. We do not want to listen. So, in your circle of people, being your spouse, your kids, your friends, right? Assuming that you have relationships with them, and you will know when something is off, right?
Yeah.
The problem is when you watch someone behave differently from what they normally do, you take it personally and you think it's about you. So let's say you call one of your friends and then she responds in some kind of off way. Your next question is not going to be, I wonder what's wrong with Susan. Your next question, what's wrong with her? What's wrong? I'll be like, how did I do? So you personalize. So instead of probing and finding out, that's a whole nother conversation. We would need a whole episode to talk about how to approach the mental health conversation, because it's the reason why people are dying in numbers, because they do not feel safe enough to say, I need help. So cries for help look like addiction. Cries for help look like depression. Cries for help look like drinking a little too much. Cries for help look like getting obsessed with work, or just removing yourself from people completely. And so before you take it personally, ask, like, why? If Nyenge is a jovial person and they usually chat and she's bubbly and whatever, shouldn't I find out what's going on with her, right? So it starts with the relationships you keep. Just today, one of my friends asked me to send a video about how I stay mentally fit. And I said one word: relationships. I've invested in good relationships with my daughter, with my friends. I don't have many, but the few that I have, they're so strong that they would easily pick out anything weird about me, even my tone. So like, there's something, what's going on? Do you want to talk about it? That is the first line of defense for everybody. Before it even gets to the point where somebody says, I'm clinically depressed about something. So relationship, but the problem is we live in a society where we have the illusion that we are connected to so many people and it's virtual, it's social media, and but the truth is that those are not relationships. And you will find out very quickly the day that you run into problems. And your birthday, for example, how many people actually take the time? to get you a gift and come to you and say happy birthday. And it's so easy to just type a comment, happy birthday, and it looks like it's love, but it's not. Those are not real connections. Real connections happen through investment of time, energy, money sometimes, gifts and talents. That's how you build strong relationships, through physical interaction, through sitting down. Hey, listen, I know you're busy, but can we do coffee next week or tomorrow? I just want to talk. Not over the phone. Yeah, that's cool, but the best relationships are built in person. You know, I used to be one of those loners where I would just stay in my space. But then when you then get into problems, you realize I need people. We're wired for connection. Human beings are wired for connection. Connection is the thing that makes us all tick, man. If we gave you all the money in the world, put you on another bank, you'd be dead in a year, or less, because you don't have people. So money is nice when you are creating memories with people. So it really comes down to relationship and connection with people. Make time to connect with people in a physical way.
You know, Tony, as you were just saying now, when I interject, I want you to also, when you're talking, just to expand, especially on, because I found that now, you spoke about social media, how people just quickly type happy birthday. Some of them just say HBD. Wow. And then some will just spend all the time just texting, picking up the call, not picking up the phone to talk, or not even just having conversation together. I mean, what do you have to say about that, and what lessons or what would you advise people to get out of that? Because I think in this social media phone world, it's just texting is becoming cheap. Exactly.
I would say life is much more fulfilling to the degree that you have meaningful relationships with people. And it doesn't even have to be a legion of people. I have very few connections in my life, my daughter included, and a couple of my friends. But my life is rich with experiences, because every time I get with any one of these people, we're having so much fun. Sometimes I even forget my phone. That's how much fun we're having. And that is really the essence of life. When I came in here, I actually took a picture of it. You have a little saying by the door, and you wrote, my goal of, I'm paraphrasing, my goal of one ways to be successful is to be free, and to be so free that I can spoil
my friend,
the people. And you mentioned your family and the people that you love. I took a picture of it because it resonates with the kind of person that I am. I'm not a things person. I'm a memories and experiences type of person. And my saying that I'm known for in the mental health space is, love anchors good mental bond. And love is broken down into relationships. Relationship with yourself, first and foremost. Are you cool with yourself? Right? Like, really think about that. Like, are you okay with you? With all the mistakes you've made, with all the things with the way you think you are supposed to be, the things that you think you are still supposed to, with all of that, are you okay with yourself? Are you able to sit down by yourself and not feel inadequate? Now, I know for a lot of people, me included, that is a difficult stance.
I wanted to say, how do I forgive myself for things that I did that were wrong? And I think that I'm just speaking generally for a lot of people. Like, they do things, you make mistakes. Sometimes major mistakes, sometimes they didn't make mistakes. And a lot of people, I find, they hold that and they carry it for years. Some people die with this thing, How do you deal with that? How do you get to that place? Yes, I think people do.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about how I am getting there, because I don't think I'm there fully, but I'm getting to a place where I am really comfortable with Tony. with all the things that he has messed up, all the way he thinks he's supposed to be and way he's not. Somebody spoke to me once, my therapist. I have a therapist that I call on anytime, and we meet. Now we meet like once or twice, in once in 2 months or a month or whatever. She said to me, all of the ideas that you think, all of the ideas of where you think you are supposed to be, or who you think you are supposed to be, where you think you are supposed to be, they are a creation of your mind. They are not reality. Reality is exactly what has happened in your life. Everything else beyond that is a creation of your mind, right? Now, stop and think about that for a moment. So whether it's in your career, right? We all have a trajectory that we think we're supposed to follow with a timeline, and we're supposed to do this. And it's almost arrogant in a sense, because you are assuming that you are the author of your lives, right? I mean, given we're supposed to work hard, we're supposed to aspire, and we're supposed to. But Nyengi, the only truth I have come to after everything that has gone on I'm getting into my mid-40s now, is that we don't live life lives us. I'm going to say that story. We live life lives us. What I mean is, beyond you and your intellect and your abilities, there's another author behind your life. Let me ask you a question. Did you see this podcast happening 5 years ago? Or say 10 years ago? Did you see yourself here?
At 2 million years old, didn't it land this at all?
But here we are, speaking to millions. Here we are, impacting people, inspiring people. And I bet you no amount of wisdom from you would have got you here. They had to be a greater influence, right? For me, God has taken me exactly where I'm from. As much as I had my goals, I had my... sometimes I laugh at my own plan, which I had 10 years ago, because I started this whole goal-setting journey when I was 30. I'm now in my 40s and all of that, and I laugh and I chuckle and I say, how foolish was I that I actually thought that I was 100% in control over everything that was going to unfold in my life. I never saw myself single in my 40s, but I am living a very fulfilling, happy life with my little girl, right? And she will have a story to tell her kids, her grandkids, and say, I may not have had like a 2-parent home and thing, but man, did that man love me. And we would not have had that if things had turned out otherwise. I could have easily got married years ago, but I don't know what time of a life I would have lived it, So I think I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. So I was saying all of this to say, I'm okay. I'm getting to a place where I'm at peace and tone. Regardless of my failures, I forgive myself more quickly now than I did before. I'm more patient and more empathetic with myself. Number one. Number two, are you cool with other people? I'm cool. When you're cool with yourself, then are you cool with other people? Create good relationships with people that you like, people that, think the way that you do, people that see the world, people that challenge you, people that are not scared to confront you when you mess up. So you're like, dude, no, that was messed up. People will call you out. And people above everything else, people that love you unconditionally, whether you are at your best or at your worst, they'll show up. They'll be like, yeah, they'll laugh. She'll be like, I'm still your girl. Let's still do this life thing. Even when you want to give up, they won't let you give up. Because, so I think for me, relationships and strong connections with people are what makes life worthwhile. Without all of this, we've seen people pay. This happens in other cultures where rich old men will pay girls to play a certain role because they long for connection, they long for humanity. It is the default. And that's what we all come back to. Just wanting to be known, to be connected to someone, be great, to be loved, and be accepted as we are. And that's what makes life meaningful. That's what makes life worthwhile. When you knock off at work in the evening after a crappy day, what are you looking forward to? Going home to this clan of people who will accept you and love you and connect and reset. We start all over again. That is life for me.
Okay. So you said something, Tony, that you have a therapist. You see a therapist. Yeah, I've done therapy before, but let's talk therapy in an African setting. Okay, in Zimbabwe. I mean, I remember the first time I saw someone I was going for therapy, and wakupeng. That's the first thing they said to me was, wakupeng.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm just dealing with stuff. And I remember there was that, wakupeng. And then two, I thought I was depressed. And they were like, what? Depression? How am I depressed? It was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Took me through that. And how did
so I mean, to be fair, I also had the same kind of mentality. But the way that I view wellness now is completely different from the way I viewed wellness probably 10 years ago, And I'll explain. Because traditionally, we've always thought about wellness as a physical thing. Like, if you say wellness, go to any company, and you hear them having a wellness day, the first thing they talk about is Zumba, you talk about this, and all these physical activities, which are great, by the way. But physical and mental wellness are two sides of the same coin. For you to be whole, even the Bible said, I wish you to be well mentally as you are physically, This is how we created. So mental wellness and physical wellness are two sides of the same coin, right? So while we are very intentional and we invest a lot of time and resources and going to the gym and eating right, and I'm assuming people are doing these things, but not many people, think about mental wellness. And what it does is, if your mental wellness is poor, it actually affects your physical wellness to some degree. A lot of the sicknesses that we see now, according to studies, they say 87 to 95% of visits to a doctor now are stress-related sicknesses or stress-treated sicknesses, which means it first of all starts in the mind and it manifests physically. And they've linked so many sicknesses, heart diseases, BP, ulcers, skin diseases, to mental and wellness, poor mental health. So poor mental health is responsible for 87 to 95% of the things that people go see a doctor for, right? So when I then became aware of that fact, I mean, not just know it intellectually, but to really see the effects of poor mental health in myself, I had no choice. It's not an option. It's an absolute must. You have to have, it may not be therapy, maybe the term scares people, right? But we all do therapy all the time. I mean, when you pick up the phone and you call one of your girls when you're having an issue with your hubby, what is that? It's therapy. It's therapeutic. You're talking to someone, they call it talk therapy. You're talking to someone about an issue and not looking for a solution, but you just want to throw up and feel better, right? So for me now, it's an absolute must. I book an appointment even when things are okay. Like we catch up and she's 60 something. Yeah, so she has a bigger worldview than I am. So sometimes you just ask you one question, and one question leads to 2 hours of conversation, and you see blind spots and things that you didn't see before. So for me, it's absolutely necessary. But now, it's a must that we stick. And this is something that I would recommend to everybody. If you can afford it, sometimes it doesn't even have to be very expensive. Just somebody who allows you to throw up. That's it. You just let it out and you feel lighter. And notice also how you can have a conversation for an hour with someone and they didn't give you a solution, but you just feel good.
You feel better. Exactly.
And that's it. Next. So
I think for me, with all that you've said, you really have summed it all up, that peace. We are all looking for that peace. We are all looking for inner peace. We're all looking just to be at peace, and I advocate for therapists and after. I think they're important. Each one of us should have a therapist in our lives. Very key. So before go, I just want a few life lessons, Tony, from you. I mean, we could go on. I still have so many things I need to unpack with you. We have to come back for another episode. But I want you to just give me some life lessons for me, especially from, I know we talked about parenthood, we talked about mental wellness, we talked about the divorce, but I want you, from a perspective of your wellness part, because I think everything, for us, for you to be a good parent, you have to do well.
Yeah.
For you to be a good friend, good spouse, whatever. So I think, can you give me some life lessons, especially around your mental wellness, that then helps you to become a better
person.
Yeah.
Excellent question, by the way. I will say, for me, it's gonna sound very silly, but that's where it started for me. Find moments where you put the phone away, right? And you switch off all distractions and just be. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, just be. Try as much as you can to be here now. What that will do is that it will expose what you are really running away from. Because we are so, remember I told you about the need to look for peace. So the peace comes from social media, and these are all cheap dopamine sources, right? But when you switch them up, right, you expose the thing that you're running away from. And you see it for what it is. You start to develop an awareness for it. And you start to, it's very uncomfortable at first, but the more you allow yourself to be okay sitting in those uncomfortable you by yourself moments, it's the only way you can start dealing with anything. Because if you have a fear of being lonely, it will be exposed. If you have some trauma that you're running away from, it will be exposed, because then you are allowing yourself to feel it without covering it up with a screen. You understand? So I'd say, if you can, please just put the phone away. Putting the phone away will do wonders for you and also do wonders for your relationships, because then you are really in the moment. You can tune into a person and really listen to what they're saying. And that creates magical conditions where you can just put away the distractions. I think that would be the beginning of the self-awareness of yourself and mental wellness. If there are things that you're running away from, you will know, okay, I think there's a demon that I have to face. But you can't see it if you're always distracted by stuff. And that's what we've become very good at. Distracting ourselves from reality.
Wow, what a way to close us off. So, yeah. Thank you, Tony. We could go on and on for hours. But just to have a few fun questions after all this, and I'm just going to ask you just a few questions. I found honest and silly. What's your favorite color and why?
I'm torn between blue and black. And red, I think.
Yeah, really? Why?
I don't know. I'm just drawn to this color. So I'm drawn to blue, gray, blue, green. I mean, blue, red, and black. I'm very drawn to them. Black is my favorite. followed by blue, and then red.
Okay, so interesting. Kind of, your favorite animal? And why?
I think I have a favorite animal, but I like birds.
Oh, you know that?
Birds. I like birds, yeah.
Okay, why? Because they don't interfere too much.
No, because birds for me are very, like, I just like the way they're so free. Like, they're free. I'm obsessed with aviation, by the way. I collect pictures of jets, and so aviation for me, wow. Yeah, so I love birds. I love how they're free. I love how they don't have jobs.
No, that's fine.
But they survive anyway.
That's Scotch, again. Yeah. Okay, and what are you reading currently?
I'm reading a book called Just a Thought. Almost about to finish it. It's a book by a lady called Dr. Amy Johnson. So Just a Thought, to summarize it, Just a Thought explained the process of thinking, right? And how virtual thoughts are, and there are no basis for action. You must just see them for what they are. Those are like virtual things. So if you think, oh my gosh, my future is bleak, guess what? It's no reality. It's a thought that you just had. The same way you can have a wonderful thought, you can also have a toxic thought. But at the end of the day, they're just thoughts. And they're all happening here, right? They have no other substance besides the realm of your star, right? Mm-hmm. What this means is you don't have to be so caught up in them as much. You don't worship them. You don't idolize them, because they are exactly what they are, these thoughts. If I give you a virtual reality, whatever, you can have 5 minutes of panic or whatever, but when you take them off, you're back to what? You're back to reality, right? But a lot of the misery that we go through, it's self-inflicted because it all happens within the virtual reality sphere, right? Mm. The powerful quote that I live by is, the mind can create heaven on hell or hell of heaven. So it all depends on. So it's when you start seeing a thought for what it is, it stops affecting you as much as it does, because it's like it's like, oh, okay, cool. There goes my thinking again. I'm overthinking. You know what I mean? I'm creating these scenarios that may never even happen about someone, about myself, about the future, about my health or whatever. But it's all happening within you. So when you just remove yourself from yourself and watch them do what they do, they stop to affect you as much as they do. So it's a very interesting book. It's for the one that I'm listening to is an audio book. But it's a wonderful one.
I think I really want to get that. Yeah, I want to read that book. And okay, last but not least, we're packing our bags and go to the airport. Where are we going?
Asia. Take this Asia. This thing, Malaysia. Korean.
So why Asia though?
I don't know. I just find their way of life very fascinating. They are so. I think Asians are more connected to living than the rest of the world. They're not so affected by a lot of things. Like they're very in touch with life. So yeah, this is my inception of them. But I think they know how to live it. Then
wow, Tony, you know us, we could go on and on. In fact, I think we need to bring you back here. There's just so many things I didn't get to unpack that I still want to unpack that we just need to talk about. So to our viewers, you virtually said, I think we're all looking for inner peace. And October the 10th was Mental Health Day. And I do hope that today's program has helped you in any way in terms of your mental wellness. And Tony, thank you for taking time out to come. And I think we need you to come back because we've got other things that we need to touch on. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Hi, everyone. You've been watching Moments with Nyengeterai. Please remember to subscribe and to turn on your notifications and to just follow me on all my social media platforms. Thank you.